Does anyone want to try to summarize what the movie's about?
I would say it's about a serial killer. It's a 90s film about a serial killer. If you've seen one 90s film about serial killers, don't fucking waste your time. Yeah.
So is that better or worse than Uncanny?
Oh, God. Uncanny is a good movie.
There's no comparison at all.
Uncanny is actually decent.
Christ, why did I miss that one then?
This is actually the first movie for the podcast with all four of us.
That's true.
Is
Very
it?
fun, which is such a bad movie to start with for all four of us.
Or a good one.
Nope. Right?
All right, we're having a fucking sexual discussion. All right, one more time. Hey, how you doing? Fuck it. We're going live. Fuck it, we're going live.
Fuck it. Do it live.
All right, we're here with Travis North, Craig Sorensen, and James Jimbo Dubs, and I'm Jamie Klein. And we're going to be watching the 1993 horror film Skinner, starring Ted Raimi, Tracy Lords, Ricky Lake, and check it out, and we'll let you know what we think after we're done watching the movie.
You know what they're gonna do to me? They're gonna let me go. They love people like me. Doesn't that make you want to scream? Mind if I call you Carrie?
You can call me anything you want.
Who's smiling now?
That's Skinner from Severin Films.
I don't get the cult appeal to it at all.
It's a movie that if you described it to someone who knew nothing about it, like Ted Raimi is a serial killer and Tracy Lords is in it, they'd be like, oh, well, that sounds interesting. You're like, yeah, but no.
It's one of those movies that came out right after Silence of the Lambs that tried to be edgy or cool and failed.
Just watch Relentless or something.
Mm-hmm. The comparisons to Silence of the Lambs seem obvious, but I don't know.
Do you think there's any residual like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, deranged type of psycho?
Well, the screenwriter definitely admits to being inspired by like Ed Gein, and he wanted to do kind of his own version of that. So he openly admits that. So it's possible that this is more of just a product of poor timing, where you know the screenwriter was in the process of trying to get his little horror movie made for years and years and years, and then of course Silence of the Lambs happens, and then
it's just after Silence of the Lambs, everything was a serial killer.
Right.
Yeah, you had like Seven, Bone Collector, like all that crap.
Silence of the Lambs was taken very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like everybody after that thought that they could also, I don't know. Everything after Silence of the Lambs has to be kind of like really has that false veneer of prestige.
This really is clothing for a divine soul.
On the bonus features, Ted Raimi talks about going to conventions and people actually showing up a lot of times with the VHS, the old VHS of Skinner, and he says it's one of the more popular ones he gets. So,
ironically,
that's my question, right?
I can't imagine the person that would be like, I'd like to spend $20 on this, watch it 4 to 5 times in my lifetime.
I do see that individual who saw it as a kid or saw it, on late night cable or saw the old VHS and remembered the one scene.
There is a scene in that movie where Dennis is deeply offended by a coworker. And after he murders him, he puts on his skin, as he does with all of his victims, and chases around a girl in this warehouse. But the skin that he puts on is an African-American guy who he killed. And Dennis is imitating him in a most vulgar fashion. That offended a lot of people. It's something that wouldn't be done today.
Yeah, baby! Let me go!
I would have never made it that far as a kid. Channel would have been changed instantly.
Oh yeah, no way.
That's the thing.
It would have changed. If it was a VHS, I would have fast forwarded to see if I saw anything remotely interesting, and maybe I might have came across that and be like, "Wait, what the hell's going on?" and played it.
No, you wouldn't have.
If it was on TV, I would have turned it off.
You would have gotten to that part, and because it was VHS, it would have been so fucking dark you couldn't have told.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on.
No pun intended, Craig.
God damn it. I should have seen that joke coming.
I could have not passed on it. I could have not passed on it. Nothing flat.
And I don't know that they're playing it for laughs. I'm not even wholly convinced that it's supposed to be.
Well, it's so
funny.
different in tone than the rest of the film.
Right.
Yeah, it comes out of nowhere.
I mean, just his mannerisms are so
and then it's
exaggerated, ridiculous. He's like flopping around, and his arms are all wavy, and it's like there's no way it's meant to be serious.
No,
it feels like it's supposed to be funny, but nothing else in the film feels like it's supposed to be funny.
Right.
Yeah, it makes Amos and Andy look subtle.
And it seems so forced where it really wasn't even that funny anyway.
No.
It's like from a different film.
Right.
I think Ted gave it everything that the role asked for and more. I mean, he just kept going with it. Nobody stopped him. So good for him.
Mm.
Dennis.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
So
well, he's
he
got
turned into
a little
one
bit
of
more
them.
than Ricky Lake. If Ricky Lake gave it all and just gave 110%, still wouldn't equal anything because she's got nothing to fucking do.
Mm-hmm.
She watches TV. She dances with salmonella hands.
Yeah.
That's about it.
She's ironing. She was like,
Yeah.
Doing what women should do.
when he first came with it,
She did spend most of the movie in the kitchen or in bed, so it makes sense.
well, when she first meets Ted Raimi, isn't she on her hands and knees cleaning like the wall?
I don't remember. I've suppressed that early in the film.
Oh, Craig, you were willed out from the very beginning. Right away, you're like, oh, it's change
Yeah, the
this.
producer credit, Craig was out.
Yeah,
It
the
was
credit's
him-
already been done, and Craig was already out of that.
when he's standing in the water, blowing water, dipping his hands in, that was it. I knew right there what the rest of the film was going to be like.
Yeah.
And I was right.
You've become so predictable. Even after all this time. It's the beginning of the end, Skinner.
It's an art film made by someone who not an artist.
A rip-off artist.
It's just lazy, and there's indecision on what the movie wants to be, right? It's like if they were daring enough to go full comedy with it, then at least you live and die by that decision. If you go full gore, at least you live and die by that decision. If you go full, just sort of creepy.
If you look at something like Psycho or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they still have a sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
There's still comedy in them. I mean, they're serious films
Right.
about serious things, but they don't take themselves too seriously. And if this film was a comedy, if it was a parody of 90s serial killer films, it would have worked.
It was too far in the...
I mean, Ricky Lake is not a great serious actress, at least not in this, but she's done comedy well.
Mm-hmm.
It was too early in the serial killer cycle to be in the parody phase. It was still in the
She
like
doesn't have the
copycat
acting
phase.
chops.
What's that?
She doesn't have the acting chops for this movie.
No, she eats too many pork chops. That's what she does.
If I told you that there was a film starring Ricky Lake and Ted Raimi is a serial killer and Tracy Lords is hunting him down with like a limp and she wears a wig, it sounds like you're talking about a comedy.
Which is funny because I always thought like the VHS played up Tracy Lords more than anything.
Yeah.
Try and get some fucker to rent it.
Yeah, I bet there are lots of disappointed men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if he tried it on set. Who did every male try it on set? Like, hey, you're a porn star. Why not?
I'm sure the director did.
Yeah, probably the director.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the director a little bit. So Ivan Naj got most of his directing cred from like television series, Chips and The Hitcher.
He directed episodes of The Highwayman.
Yep.
Well, I'm looking him up now. He did a movie in 1998 called All Nude Nikki.
Yeah. Here's the thing about Ivan Naj. He's more famous for being the boyfriend of famous Madam Heidi Fleiss.
Oh, wow.
This movie came out right at the exact same time as that whole scandal blew up. This movie really is more of an interesting sort of time capsule if you know that it's being directed by the guy who was dating, the Hollywood madam.
Right.
So everything surrounding it is infinitely more interesting than the movie itself. The
Yeah,
movie's just a fucking flop.
The info you just gave us is way more interesting than that entire fucking movie that we just watched. I would like to see what you just described. I want to see that movie. And
I think that's just as dull. He dated a prostitute. Okay.
No, I want to see him. I want to see him make All New Nikki. Yeah, that was bad.
So, Jamie, if you had the choice again, would you rather watch this or Captain Marvel?
Oh,
they're both set in the 90s.
I'd watch this again because Captain Marvel's probably like 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
That's good enough reason.
What'd you say, Craig?
Just the running time is a good enough reason.
Yeah, I might do that for running time.
You can enjoy the time with Bad Skin Husband. Revisit his 5 minutes of screen time and enjoy it.
I gotta go.
Are you just gonna walk out that door without even saying goodbye?
Goodbye.
It's kind of odd why the screenwriter decided to make this Ricky Lake's husband such a douchebag for no reason, and the character really doesn't serve any purpose.
I think it's to make the relationship between her and Ted more, I don't know.
Her husband's bad attitude drove her into the arms of the boarder upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
The forbidden fruit of khakis and bad eyeglass lenses.
Right. But the directing's so bad that
it makes the truck driver the only sympathetic character.
Yes, he's
I think he's the only one that came off as an actual human being partially, so it was like easier to relate to him.
His anger is completely justified by the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
If I saw 2 stray Converse in my house, I'd be fucking furious.
What the fuck are these?
Jesus, Jeff, you scared me to death. What are you doing with Dennis's sneakers?
Dennis? Who the fuck is Dennis?
The guy who's renting the spare room.
What? You got some guy living here with you while I'm away?
Boarder is a good term, though, because it was bored.
Oh, all right. Shut his video off.
The director's got a bunch more, films and TV shows under his belt. I'd be interested to see another one of his earlier films to see, to compare, to see what it looks like, compared to this. Because we complain a lot about even some of our favorite directors who, at the end of their career, just produce absolute garbage.
Yeah, I would take competent yeoman's work from this guy as a step up. Like hey, he could direct TV episodes of a series. He could get it done. You get 40 minutes of material with no style at all. Boom. I think that's probably this guy's peak.
I think we're done talking about this piece of shit.
All right, so round robin one last time. Where's everyone land can wise?
One can.
0.
Ouch.
None.
Is this the first time I'm at the lowest score?
Craig, would you say this is the worst movie we've ever watched for Trashmen Media?
I'd say this and Lovers Beyond Time are the 2 worst.
Ooh, yeah, Lovers Beyond Time was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was bad, but
Those were both really boring.
Lovers Beyond Time had titties.
This did too.
Barely.
I know, but technically there was some nippage.
I don't need that in a movie.
I mean, 0 to me means the movie has no redeeming value at all.
Yeah.
Not even that one sarcastic asshole husband?
Not him.
Well, I can't give it like 0.8 cans.
Half a can for that guy.
No, he's not worth half a can. He's not in the film enough for half a can. 1/4. I'll go that far.
1/4.
All right, we got a quarter can from Craig. We were able to negotiate him up to a quarter of a can.
Just for that. What the fuck is this scene?
Yeah. Craig just has the lid. Not even the can, just the lid.
The handle, though.
The rusty handle. I'll give it 1. A solid 1. Jim's gonna drop a 4 can on us right now.
No, I'm definitely I'm my instinct tells me 1, but part of me says like I need to team up with Team Craig here and go harder on it,
Wow.
I thought you did the opposite because of the special features. I was like, probably because the special features is going to boost it up.
The special features are good.
Well, just how you fly.
There is, I believe, a veneer of humanity, and it's about this thick.
And I sat down opposite the desk with the guy that's running at the time. He's dead now. Again, a lot of people that I used to speak to about Skinner seem to be dead. It has nothing to do with me.
And he just wanted to say, like, just so you remember, I know that you know who I am, and I know that all this stuff has happened, but when I made this movie, I was just a filmmaker.
Admittedly, the special features are really good, and that's
just give the special features a different rating.
Yeah, I guess 1 can then. It's just a bore.
Craig hates boobs.
He does. He does hate boobs.
I'm not going to complain when they're there.
Craig is a huge fan of optical fogging. I don't need to see that. That's just too much.
I like to let my imagination do it.
Yeah.
What you don't see is more erotic than what you do see.
I wish I want to pretend he came rainbow.
Sure.
Ugh, it smells like Trashmen media around here.